We were children. When my father passed away, we never had a will. He didn't. He never wrote a will, so he had a trust. So the government in Jamaica, they wanted to sell all his rights. So it was my sister Sidala and Mama Rita of age, Sidala of age, and she was the one to fight for it. And we as the children, I was getting ready to go to school. We had no money. Everything was frozen. My dad was only making what? Let's call it what year? About $2 million his estate was at the time. So it was frozen. Lawyer fees, this, that, and the third. All we had was our father's rights, his likeness, and his music. And we did not sell that. And at no time we were going to sell that. People offered us, what year was this? $20 million. Michael Jackson, good loving Michael. We went to Michael and said, hey, Michael, could you help us? We need some money. We don't have any money and they're trying to take our... Michael said, no, I'll buy it. Michael said, no. MCA wanted to buy it, this one. So no, Chris Blackwell, the guy that everybody don't like, he loaned us the money, the family. We were able to buy our father's rights because when they sold it, they give the children the first rights of refusal. So we had the money at the time. We brought up the money.
So y'all had to go raise the money to buy the publishing rights back.
The publishing rights and name and likeness because they were selling it. Because my dad didn't. They weren't gonna, and they were gonna issue us. Oh well, we sell it for this one, that one. We issue you your
royalties.
Not royalties at the time. They were selling it.
Yeah.
It was one check.
One check. So we're like, okay, you know what? We'll buy it. Right. We ain't letting you buy our dad's rights. And so my sister Sidella.
But was it your sister because...
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. So, as you heard, Rohan Marley explained beautifully what happened when his father passed away in 1981. So we're going to go over a few things. It's not the full interview. I'm going to be putting the information in the description where you can find the full interview. A lot of people are confused as to what really took place. People are still confused about what the court proceedings were about. As you can hear, Rohan explaining what the court proceedings were about. Husband passed away and he does not have a will. The government is going to step in. They will be selling your property, your house, car, whatever you have. In Bob Marley's case, it was a lot. Heard Rohan said $2 million in 1981. When I do some research, I saw 30 million estimate for Bob Marley's estate back in 1981. I mean, he was there, so we're going to go with the 2 million that Rohan said. So we have different figures when I do the research, but Rohan said 2 million. You just imagine your father passes away, there's no will. We know that generally speaking in Jamaica, when that happens, they call it intestate, right? There's no will, it's going to be sold. Everything will be sold. They will cut a check and give it to you, one check, and that check you have to divide it up. What the court case was about is to prevent the government from selling. They were battling in court to prevent the sale. As you heard, they went to a few places, companies, private entities, private individuals. They wanted to borrow the money from them and purchase the estate because they knew back then, in the long run, the Bob Marley's estate is going to generate millions and millions of dollars. And if they could only get the funds to purchase the estate, they will start working towards establishing more companies and get more money in merchandising, music, creating all types of income. And they got the money to purchase the estate so that it will not be sold off to companies. That was what the battle was about. If she wanted to just take a check from the government. They would just sell everything and divide up the money, but they did not want that for the family because they knew what they worked for. Rita Marley knew the type of work that went into creating that type of estate, and a lot of people, they don't have the appreciation for the work that went into that. They just saw dollar figures and they wanted their cut. And remember, it got complicated because musicians are coming with lawsuits. You have the children mothers coming in as well, and other entities, other companies saying, you owe me this or Bob owed me that. So it got complicated, right? In the long run, they got the money, they purchased the estate, and they paid out musicians who were owed money. There's going to be arguments saying that the musicians were not fully paid or were underpaid. That part I'm not going to get into because that's a whole different video. So we're just going to say that they got the money and they paid out who's supposed to be paid, and then they focused on generating more income into the estate. You know, more companies, more merchandising, the music royalties. I believe Chris Blackwell still got a piece, right? Because he came up with the money, and I guess that was some type of a deal, but it stayed mostly in the family. So just to recap, just some points that I made when he was speaking. I just made some quick notes. I'm just going to review it again. So his dad died, no will. He died and he left a trust. And they wanted to sell his rights. The government, of course, wanted to sell the rights. As I explained earlier, this is how it works. It's nothing out of the ordinary. They would sell all the assets and then divide it up. If the government would get their piece, and then the rest would go to the wife and kids. The estate, he said, was valued at about $2 million back then in 1981, right? And as I mentioned before, I've seen reports up to 30 million. So it's a wide range, right? That's where the estimates are coming in. For the estate at the time is a wide range. So his assets were frozen. And then you have lawyers' fees. A big chunk of that is going to be lawyers' fees. So the lawyers' fees went into the millions. In the end, you heard what he said. They had to find the money to purchase the estate so that it's not sold off. That's what the big battle was about. It was not just Rita battling the courts, because if that was the case, they would have settled, get the check, and everybody divided up. But they knew that it's going to be worth millions and millions of dollars 10, 20, 30 years after he has passed. So that they got rights, his music and his likeness. Michael Jackson wanted to buy it. They did not sell it to him because they went to him for help, and he wanted to purchase it. There were people offering up to 20 million. MCA wanted to purchase it as well. Chris Blackwell was the one again who stepped in and saved the day, and they had the money to purchase the estate so that it was not sold off. Maybe it would have been sold off to a foreigner who could do anything with Bob Marley's rights, music, merchandise, whatever they wanted to. They could do it because they now own it. Or it wouldn't be owned by the kids or his wife. They would have zero talk. That's what I wanted to explain. It's much deeper than battling the courts. She did not want it to be sold off because first step is that it would have to be sold. And then that's where that comes in. After the government gets their percentage, then it would be shared up. But they knew all the work. Just imagine all the work that they put in from the 60s, right? All the dedication, the sacrifice, the long hours, not sleeping, rehearsing daily for hours, traveling with a band. Right? It takes a toll on you after a while, traveling from country to country with a band. They were traveling in buses, coach buses, and they would travel around like that. So it's not an easy thing when you tally up all the hours and hours that they've put into this. Then for it to be sold off, very hurtful, right? extremely hurtful for them. So I am glad that it worked out the way it did, because it probably wouldn't even be in Jamaica. Like, it could be abroad and talking about Bob Marley in whatever way they want, or do whatever they want. Movies, merchandise, everything would be up to that person and how they wanted to portray Bob Marley. So it wasn't just about the money, it was about preserving Bob's legacy. In the wake of Bob Marley's passing, a battle ensued over the estate. Mentioned other people were coming in and claiming a piece. So Bob Marley, the iconic reggae legend, left behind a legacy cherished by millions. However, his untimely death without a will left his family in a precarious situation. Rita Marley, his devoted wife, found herself in a challenging position. The Jamaican government put Bob Marley's estate up for sale, threatening to take away the family's control over their own legacy. We couldn't let that happen. The estate was built on years of hard work and sacrifice and dedication. Since the 1960s, Bob and Rita Marley had tirelessly worked to build their legacy. They didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands. Enter Chris Blackwell, a friend and supporter of the family, and he understood the importance of preserving Bob Marley's estate. We know that, as Rohan said, he's not a very popular person in Jamaica. So that's for another video. But he was the one who stepped in. Chris Blackwell's financial assistance, Rita Marley, fought to keep the estate within the family. The family continues to benefit from Bob Marley's legacy. There are estimates now saying that it's worth up to $500 million US since his passing. It remains in the family's hands where it rightfully belongs. Rita Marley said it was never about us. It was preserving Bob's vision and ensuring his message lives on for generations to come. Thank you for joining me on this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please leave a comment. As long as it's respectful, please leave a comment and let me know what you think.